Hi, Srikar. Good morning. Can you hear me? Yeah. So let me start the session with the course content, what we have here. So I hope everybody is able to see my screen. Yeah. I'm really not sure how many of you have got chance to go through the course content. As part of this course, we'll be learning how to write the SQL queries and how to interact with a database. That's what we are going to learn here, guys. Topic wise, you can see a complete details here. So we will start with a very basic here, like we will start with what exactly a database management, and we will understand the difference between database and RDBMS. And from there, we will move to SQL Server. We will try to understand the difference between SQL and SQL Server and why we should use SSMS and what is the role of SSMS in learning SQL. We will understand that. And from there, we move to bit of technical concepts like what exactly we meant by server type and server name. So we will understand the interface of SSMS, guys. Once we are done with this, so we will move to SSMS and we will create a sample database. And not only a sample database, we will restore a database called AdventureWorks, which is a default database from Microsoft. So we will learn how to restore this. Once we are done with the restore process, then we will slowly move to one SQL variant that is called as T-SQL, which is Transact Structured Query Language. So using this, we will learn how to work with various SQL commands. So we have various SQL commands here, guys. Like we simply refer them as DDL commands, DML, DQL, DCL, and TCL. So let me make one thing very clear that during the sessions, so this course is designed for data analysts and reporting analysts. So the main focus will be on data query language. Using this data query language, we will learn how to write select statements, and using select statement, how to extract data, and while extracting data, how can we apply some filter and how can we keep some conditions here. And we will learn what is the role of order of execution and how we can use the table alias names. We will discuss all these things during the discussion on T-SQL, guys. Once we are done with this, slowly we move to built-in functions. We will learn how to manipulate data while extracting. For that, definitely we will use some functions here. These functions are really, really helpful. So people, whoever is coming from Excel background, they know it very well that we use some functions in Excel. The same way, even in SQL, we will be working with some of the functions here, guys. Once we are done with this, we move to an important concept here called joins. Yeah, people, whoever is looking for a career change or people who wants to get into any company, for them, this is really, really important to have a fair understanding on joins and set operators. Once we are done with these two, then slowly we move to a topic called subqueries. Yeah, subqueries and joins are very, very important. Even in real time, we use them a lot. Once we are done with all these things, slowly we move to a topic called views. So this is what we use the most. Because whenever we come to any database, guys, generally any database will have two levels of access. So one is read and write access, and another one is read only access. People who are into database development or database administration, generally they will have read and write access. Yeah, so simply let me mention this as DBA. But when it comes to reporting analyst or data analyst roles, 99% we will have read-only access. We will not have write access here, guys. Now, what we will do here, so there will be a separate database administration team or data engineering team. What they will do, they create the necessary queries and they will share the queries with us. So here, whenever we refer views, these are like virtual tables what we have. Using these virtual tables, we will try to work with them. So we will try to understand what are the simple views and what the complex views and how to create them, how to alter them, and how to drop them. We will understand all these aspects, guys. Then once we are done with all these things, slowly we move to security and we will understand the transaction management. So this is the course content, what we have. So let me take a pause here and see, are there any questions? Do we have any questions, guys? Am I clear with the course content? Yep, please feel free to speak. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Can anybody please confirm? Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Thank you so much, guys. Yeah. During our sessions, I will try to interact with each and everyone, but for a quick understanding purpose, can you please give me a walkthrough of your profile, guys, like your name and your experience level? Why are you here for this course? Is it like for job purpose, or you're looking for a fresh role, or are you looking for career switch? Can you please help me with your details?
Hi, sir. Good morning. This is Hussein. Currently working as a pharmacy manager, and the reason of this course is to move to the operations.
Hi, Hussein. Yes, sir.
Sir.
Thank you so much. So, how much experience do you hold, sir?
Currently, I'm having 7 years of experience, sir. I'm working in Dubai currently.
That's
Uh,
nice.
I'm planning to move to the the operation and admin team. So I hope this course will help me to improve my skills towards in Excel. Currently, I'm having a basic knowledge on Excel and advanced Excel, but
Okay.
I need better knowledge on analyzing the data in a quick process.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks for the details. Sure, I'll keep that in mind. Yeah. So, as you said, you are already familiar with Excel. By any chance, do you have any experience with any programming language, sir?
No, sir, because since I'm in the pharma background,
Yeah,
I am not into this any languages. I have the
absolutely.
basic knowledge.
Okay. That's the reason I asked, sir. As you are coming from pharma background, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You may not have a lot of touch with the computers,
Yes, yes,
but sure,
exactly.
we will stick to the basics also, sir. We will touch or we will focus on basics also.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, Kiran. Good morning. This
Uh,
is uh, this is Salman, and I'm from support background and trying to move into data analyst to start as a career now. I have like 6 to 7 years of experience in support.
That's nice. Support in the sense, is it related to accounting process or IT related process?
IT support. I was
IT.
working last job. I was working as a Power BI support analyst.
That's really nice. Then you would be already familiar with all these things, sir.
I have a basic understanding of Power BI, how to create some graphs and all those kind of charts and all. But
Okay.
understanding SQL has become uh, more necessary now for me.
Absolutely, Salman. That's true. Yeah. We need to have a fair understanding of SQL.
Yes, so that I can easily move into data analyst. That's the goal.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And just to add, I don't have any understanding of any languages. I have some basic understanding, but that's not really helpful. So
Okay.
I'm also trying to understand some Python or Java, basic understanding, so that I can get a understanding on data analyst while working.
Sorry, anybody else wants to go, or can I move on? Okay. So first, let me introduce myself, guys. I didn't introduce myself. So myself, I'm Kiran. I'm part of team Excelytics. So I have around 13 years of experience. I worked in various roles. For last it's been almost like 2.5 years. I'm completely into training. So I left my corporate life and now I'm into trainings, guys. So previously I worked with various domains like HR analytics, pricing analytics, supply chain analytics. So I made a career switch almost like 10 years back. Since then, I've been into reporting and analytics roles. So both I worked analytics and reporting both. So as part of my experience, I extensively used Excel a lot. That's where I started my career. So I used Excel extensively. From there, slowly I made a move to a bit of analytics role. So there I had to use SQL, Python, and by the time we didn't have Power BI. So though Power BI was released in 2015, but very less organizations used to use Power BI. So by that time, we had Tableau a lot. So I had experience with Tableau and I used SAP as part of my roles, and I had experience with Salesforce. So as a reporting analyst, we need to use a lot of tools, guys. Using based on all the tools, I was responsible for majorly few activities. Let me list out the activities. So we need to do data extraction. And once we have the extracted data, we need to, you can call it as format. People who are coming from Excel background, they might be familiar with this word, format, where you need to bring your data into a structured format because data may not be in a way where you require. So you need to structure your data. Then once we are done with this, we will load the completely structured data into various applications. And using that, we will prepare our reports or we will prepare our dashboards. So this is the end-to-end flow, guys. Any data analyst or reporting analyst, generally they will be involved into all these activities. So that's where, let me come to the first point here where it says extract. When I say extract, so here, most of the times we store our data in Excel. Can somebody help me when we are able to store our data in Excel? Why are we trying to learn SQL? Does anyone have idea, guys? Is it really mandate to learn SQL? Yeah, please feel free to talk, guys. You can discuss. So this is my request to everyone. Let's make the session interactive. Yeah, you can see on my screen, I'm using Excel. Even people who have a basic understanding, they can easily work with Excel. And I guess some of you who joined virtually, you guys might have completed the Excel sessions from Excelytics, and now you are enrolling for SQL. I'm trying to understand, guys, why we should move from Excel to SQL. Is it really important? Can you please share your thoughts?
Maybe Excel is only limited for certain data. When we are using the large data, Excel will be slowed down. We cannot
Excel
work
will be
large.
slowed down. Okay.
Yeah, we cannot work large data in Excel.
We cannot work large data. Sir, I totally agree with the word, but what exactly you meant by large data? Can we quantify this? Can we give any number? What do you mean by large data? Is it like 10 rows of data, or is it like 100 rows of data, or 1,000 rows of data, or 1 lakh rows of data, or 10 lakh rows of data? So
Yeah,
what do you
in a
consider
single
as
day.
large data?
Suppose I am extracting the data from different, suppose I am in, since I am in the pharma operations, I am getting the reports from like 100 pharmacies per day.
Okay.
To extract and give the presentation to the management, the Excel will not work out to showcase all the 100 pharmacy data in one.
Okay.
It will take a longer time compared to these the other languages. I mean the advanced ones.
Okay.
That's the reason of I am in I am here to get the knowledge on this SQL.
Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah. Any other thoughts, guys?
I think we can use more of a logic in SQL than Excel.
More of logic than Excel. Okay. Any
Because
specific scenario?
usually we can join the data and extract the data. Because in Excel the formulas are bit of a harder to remember and understand. So while applying logic in SQL, you can just write the functions in a simple language and you can extract the data however you want.
Okay. So let me list out the point what you mentioned, sir. Logic. Okay. That's nice. Any other thoughts, guys? Yeah, from there, let me move on to one specific point. Whenever we want to store data, can somebody help me? How do we store the data, guys? When I say data, for example, let's say now we have like 11, excluding me, we have like 10 people on the call. So now what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to collect your details. So like your name, your mobile number, and your address and your qualification, something like the details, basic details. Now, in that case, so I want to collect your data, guys. Now, if I want to collect your data, generally, how do we start the process? Can somebody help me? Any idea? If I ask somebody, I mean, we have so many people on the call. If I ask somebody to collect all the details, how do we start, guys? Am I confusing? Okay, so let me come here. So now these days, especially what we are doing, guys, we are capturing so much of data. I would say enormous of data, guys. So even every day we use phones a lot, and we make a lot of phone calls, and we receive a lot of phone calls. We are using so much of data, and the people are using smartwatches. People are capturing so much of data, and we do a lot of financial transactions, and we do a lot of activities, guys. Now, related to this, what's happening? Every organization is capturing so much of data. Now, let's imagine I'm taking this session. Now, I decided to collect your details. Then, what happens, guys? First, what I will do is I will try to collect the data in a systematic format. Yeah, so this is very important. I will explain what is a systematic format. So when I say systematic format, first what I will do, I keep a header. Under the header, I will try to store respective data. The best example here, first what I will do, if I want to collect all your details, I keep a header as serial number because I'm trying to find out or I'm trying to identify each person data. For that, I'm using one unique number. So generally we call that as serial number or roll number or student ID or customer ID, whatever it is. So we are trying to use one unique number, guys. So I keep some numbers like this. Then what I will do, I keep another heading as name. Under this, we will try to enter the names, guys. So then let me come here. I keep mobile number. And under this, we will try to enter some numbers, something like this. Now, the moment you say this, here what's happening, we will try to save some data. Now, whenever we want to, whenever we collect the data, guys, there are two important activities where we need to focus. One is we need to store this data, and whenever we require, we need to retrieve this data in a very easy manner. Yeah, most of the people think that absolutely storing data is very important. I'm not saying that data storage is not important, but though you store your data, there is another important activity, guys, that we call as retrieve. Yeah, you might have seen maybe a few years back, people used to write phone numbers in a notepad or maybe something like a book kind of thing. And if you are looking for one specific number, people used to struggle. I don't know how many of you have seen, there was a concept of telephone directory. People used to search for numbers in the telephone directory. So in my example, telephone directory is also very effective way of data storage. But if you are trying to search for a specific number, you need to spend a lot of time, guys. These days, thanks to smartphones, we never take a lot of time to search for a particular number because everything is at the fingertips. We easily reach out to any particular person just by using their name, or we use some nicknames, or even with the help of some numbers, we will search for particular phone number. Now, what I'm trying to explain here, guys, we are storing data, but whenever we require, we are getting the data out. That's what we call as retrieve. So these two are very important activities, guys. Let me add one more point here, that is security. So I store this data in Excel file. This is fine, but let's imagine I'm working with some, let's imagine I'm working with Government of India, or I'm working with a bank. So if you work with a bank, guys, what happens? We will be dealing with a lot of financial data. And you cannot store your financial data in Excel. The reason why, whoever has access to the Excel file, everybody will be able to open the file and they will be able to see the entire data. Now, I'm not talking about data processing, or I'm not talking about reporting. I'm just trying to stick to the very basic concept here. We store the bank data in Excel, and whenever you want to retrieve it, you can easily retrieve it. But this is where the biggest concern comes into picture, that is called security. Now, this is the reason why we are moving out of Excel and we are trying to get into a specific language here, guys, that is called SQL. Why are we trying to use this? Because using this, yeah, SQL stands for Structured Query Language. Using this language, we are going to perform multiple tasks. One is you can store data. As and when required, you can retrieve the data. And if required, you can modify the data. And if required, you can keep some restrictions or access restrictions using SQL. So in simple words, all these activities are not possible completely with Excel. That's the reason what we are doing. So we are moving out of Excel and using a specific language here. We are trying to do this. Am I clear with this, guys? Do we have any questions? Yeah, whatever the course content I showed you sometime back. So basically using all these things, we are going to perform all the activities, what I mentioned in my Excel. So what do we do? Using DDL commands. So we perform certain activities. In that, we store the required data. Then using DML commands, we modify it. Then whenever we require the data, we use TQL commands. Using this, we retrieve the data. And using TCL commands, you can keep some restrictions on the transactions. And using TCL commands, what you can do is you can grant the access, you can revoke the access, you can keep user level restrictions here. Now, all these commands will help you to perform all these activities. Am I clear with this? Does anyone have any questions? So I hope you can hear me.
Yes, sir. Hearing.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, again, I'm requesting. So please make the session interactive. Yeah, I was talking about my experience. So I did my BSc MBA, guys. I'm no way connected with technology. So for me, everything is like a puzzle. So when I first learned SQL, so I had a lot of questions. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the same questions here. So whenever we talk about data, we use few words a lot. Can somebody help me to understand the words what I'm writing on my screen, guys? The first word what I'm using is table. Second word, we use this word a lot where we call this as database. And third word, what we will use is server. Can somebody help me to understand these three words, guys? What do we mean by table and what do we mean by database and what do we mean by server?
Table is like we store the data in the form of rows and columns.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Database is something wherein we store a large amount of tables in the database.
Large amount of
Data, like in tables, that is stored in database.
Okay. Thank you. That's correct. Then why do we use server?
Server to publish.
To publish. I told you, right? I'm not technical graduate. Can you help me to understand the word publish?
Publish is like to have these tables and the tables and whatever the required format we can show to the end user to access that in server. Like everybody will not have the database access, the tables access. So
Okay.
if I need to showcase them, then we publish it to the server. Like we send those, for example, if it is like you're sending an email, if you have an Word document or a photos or any videos, we send an email to other email ID person. So similarly here in the in SQL or in any other tools, we have server where if I need to check those reports or those tables, I can have an access to that server, where we can publish it. Like we can send those reports. Probably I can say in a layman language, we can send those reports and you can view, the end user can view those reports.
Okay. Yeah. Thank
So
you for the
correct me if I
explanation.
am wrong anywhere.
We will discuss it, ma'am. But
Yeah,
I
sure.
really appreciate your explanation. That's really nice. Yeah. Let me come here, guys. Whenever we talk about the word data, it's a quite generic word what we use. Yeah, and we use it a lot. But whenever you want to store it, guys, 99%, I would say 99%, guys, we store the data in tabular format. What I mean to say, when I say tabular format, generally we use rows and columns. Using these rows and columns, so we store the data. So that's what we consider as table, because it's a structured way of storing the data. So you can take this as example, guys. I have serial number here. First, I kept a header here, and under that, I kept the respective data. Then name, I have a lot of names here, and the mobile numbers here. So you might have seen, if you ask anybody to enter data on their own without these headers, what people do is they might write their name here, then they might write their mobile number here. So people, they don't store the data in an organized way. So that's the reason most of the times, guys, what do? We store the data in a tabular format. That's where whenever we talk about data, then immediately the word table comes into picture. Yeah. So let me put it like this. So I will call collection of data as table. So basically rows and columns of data we consider as table only. Then to store, we never work with only one table, guys. We work with multiple tables. If you take any organization, they'll not have only one table, guys. For example, let's say I'm working with one educational organization. In that case, I will have student details. Then I will have faculty details. Then I will have admin staff details. Yeah. Then I need to make note of all the payment related things. And I need to make note of marks and the ongoing activities. I'm just giving you an example here, guys. If you take one educational organization or educational institute, so we will be working with so many tables here. Now we need one place to store all these tables. That's nothing but your database. Database is nothing but collection of tables. Now we need a place where we can store the database. That is nothing but your server. So let me put it like this: collection of databases. So this is the hierarchy we have here, guys. Whenever we want to store data, first we need a secured room. That secured room is nothing but your server. In a server, you keep a lot of racks kind of things, or you can consider as, yeah, some racks kind of thing. So that we consider as databases. In that, we are trying to store a particular piece of information that is nothing but your data. We store this data in table format. Now, this is the hierarchy what we have, guys. Whenever you are trying to access one particular data point, first you need to connect to server. From server, we go to one particular database. From a particular database, we go to a particular table, and we will have this required information in the table. So now what we are going to do throughout this course, we will learn how to communicate with the tables. So if you want to communicate with the table, first you need to connect to server. So that's where we will understand how to connect to a server. Once you are connected to a server, we will understand how to reach out to a particular database. From there, we will learn how to reach out to a particular table. So now the entire information is stored in table format. To work with this, we are going to learn SQL, guys. So SQL deals with the data which is in tabular format. Yeah, but even we have some other data sets where they are not in table format. The best example, you might have seen X-ray. X-rays are never stored in table format, guys. What happens? They'll be stored in a picture format. Now, if you want to read the data from images, or if you want to read data which is not in tabular form, then we use NoSQL. When I say NoSQL, so we have various other query languages, guys. Using them, we will work. So what we meant by NoSQL is not only SQL. Yeah, the major difference between SQL and NoSQL. Using SQL, you can read the data from tables. In case you have a data set which is not in table format, if you want to read that, we use NoSQL, which stands for not only SQL. This is how we work, guys. So I don't know how many of you heard, we have MongoDB. Yeah, using this, what do we do? Even you can read the data from images also. And for example, let's say there are some Google reviews. Google reviews are never in table format. But what if you have to extract some insights from Google reviews? Even in that case, we can go with NoSQL, guys. Using this, we can work. Am I clear with these points? Does anyone have any questions or anybody wants to share anything?
Yeah, sir, I wanted to understand like what is like SQL is where we can interact, but how about NoSQL? Is that also a database or like we can interact or how it is? Can you just explain me once again like what is the difference between SQL and NoSQL?
Sure, ma'am. So for example, let me take the example of healthcare. If you go to
Yeah.
healthcare, I mean, if you go to hospitals, we have a lot of diagnostics. Now, most of the diagnostics, they capture the CT scan or MRI, or they use X-ray. All these are like, they're not in table format. Am I correct?
Yes, yes.
But even if you want to understand a patient's health condition, we should be able to read that data.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
in that case, what I'm trying to explain, if the data is not in table format, then we use other ways. I mean, we have other ways to read that data. That's what I'm trying to explain here. Am
Okay.
I making sense?
Okay. Okay. So that is where the NoSQL comes in picture.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean to say not only SQL,
Okay. Not only SQL. Okay,
not
got
only
it.
SQL. Because every time data may not be in table format. What
Mhm.
if you're trying to read a data which is not in table format?
Okay. Okay.
Hope I'm making sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Did I answer your question? Can I move on?
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure.
Thank you. Now, let me come here, guys. We understood the difference between table, database, and server. Now, let's move on to the next point. That is, let me use two specific words here, guys. One is SQL and another one is SQL Server. Are they same or are they different? Does anyone have idea?
I think it's different because
It is
SQL
different.
is something we query it from server. Like
Yeah.
server is where we store the tables.
Yes,
SQL
absolutely.
is an like select statement we use it to query. I think that is the difference. I'm not sure.
Okay. So let me explain this, guys. This is my personal experience. So almost like I would say 10 or 9 years back, I told you, right? I'm a non-technical graduate. So my job requires, or I had to learn SQL, guys. What I did, I went to a couple of institutes in Amirpet and I told them that I want to learn SQL. Indeed, written, they asked me a question. What are you trying to learn? Are you trying to learn SQL or are you trying to learn SQL Server? So this was like $1 million question to me because I don't know the difference between SQL and SQL Server. So then how would I answer this? First of all, I don't know what is the meaning of server. By that time, I know Excel and I've been working with Excel. But literally, I don't know the difference of server and database. People used to ask me, what are you trying to learn, SQL Server or SQL? Yeah. So I felt that was like a pain point, guys. That is the reason in every session of mine, I'll try to explain this difference. So SQL is just a language, guys, which is used to communicate with databases. But SQL Server is a server application. It's an application, guys. So we discussed that we store the tables in database, and these databases are stored in servers. Now, various companies are offering these server applications, guys. So let me come here. That's where you hear, we have the companies like Microsoft. So Microsoft is providing one server application that is called as SQL Server. Then even we have Oracle. Even Oracle provides this server application. We call that as Oracle Server. And we have one more where we say MySQL. Even we have MySQL Server. Now, these are various server applications, guys. So we use these server applications. In these applications, we create these databases. And in these databases, we store the tables. So now we have various server applications. Based on the server application, guys, we use the respective language. That's the reason. So here what happens? To interact with SQL Server, basically we are using SQL, but we call that language as PSQL. So this is the SQL variant what we use to interact with SQL Server, guys. The same way, if you come to MySQL Server, if you want to work with MySQL Server, you cannot use T-SQL. There we have MySQL. You need to learn MySQL, and using that, we work with MySQL Server. Am I making sense, guys? Hope I'm not confusing. Does anyone have any question here? Yeah, just to show you an example here, guys. So you can see this. I'm writing a sample query here. Select customer ID, customer name from a table called customers. So this is a SQL query, what I'm referring to, guys. If you see this, it looks like a plain, simple English. So customer ID is how we mentioned serial number here. The same way here, we are using customer ID. And how do we have name here? The same way we are using customer name here. And here, we gave a name to the table that is nothing but customers. So basically in customers table, we are storing all the customers details. Now, if I want to work with this, this is how we write our query. So now using this query, what we can do, guys, we can retrieve the stored data. Now, depends on the SQL variant. What we do, we write the query, guys. Then the moment I explain this, people will come up with a question saying like, which SQL variant I should learn to get into job? Yeah, it varies, guys. Depends on the organization. We use different SQL variants. So most of the times, now we come across a lot of Microsoft applications. In case you are trying to work with Microsoft applications, then we prefer to learn T-SQL. And at the same time, I'm not saying that every company will be using T-SQL. No, few companies use MySQL or few companies use PLSQL. It varies. But if you learn one SQL variant, almost like 70% is common in all the languages. But we have some keyword differences. So around 25 to 30% varies based on the SQL variant, guys. So the best example, if you come here, then we are writing query. For example, let's say I want to find out the highest sales. If you are trying to find out the highest sales in T-SQL, we use the command as top. But when it comes to MySQL, for the same example, we use the command as limit. So here, the functionality is same, but we have a small keyword difference here. So now my point is quite simple. If you learn one type of SQL variant, you can work with other SQL variants also. That's what I'm trying to explain here. Yeah, let me take a pause here. Does anyone have any questions?
No, fine, sir.
Are we good? Hope
Yeah.
I'm not confusing, ma'am. Am I confusing?
No, sir, it's clear.
Okay, thank you. Then let's move on, guys. So to continue with our sessions, everyone has to install two applications. One is called SQL Server. This is a server application, what you need to install in your laptop. So please install this application. We will be sharing the instruction files, guys. Please use those instruction files and complete the installation process. Yeah. Then once we are done with this SQL Server installation, we need to install one more application, which is called as SSMS. Let me explain what is this SSMS, guys. SSMS stands for SQL Server Management Studio. Now, using this SSMS, what do? We will write the queries, guys. You cannot directly write your queries on SQL Server. You need a separate platform to write your queries. That separate platform is nothing but your SSMS. Basically, SSMS is considered as IDE. Yeah. Anybody has idea, guys? What is this IDE? I know we have few people who are not coming from programming background, but if anybody has experience, guys, can you help me to understand what is this IDE?
I think it's like an addition.
Okay, it's like an addition.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me come here. Let me explain what is this IDE, guys. So IDE, the full form is Integrated Development Environment. Why do we need it? It's quite simple. If you see this, I mentioned that this is a sample SQL query. And if you observe, I'm writing this sample SQL query in simple plain English. But here is a catch, guys. When it comes to machine has its own language. Generally, machines use binary language. But I'm writing my query in English. How the machine is able to understand your query? Because there is a mediator in between, that is nothing but your IDE. So whatever the queries you are writing in this IDE, that will be translated into machine language, and that will communicate with your machine, and it gets the output, and again it will be translated and it will be displayed in our language. So this entire activity is done by IDE, guys. Now, to work with SQL Server, we need an IDE that is nothing but SSMS. By
Yes,
any
sir.
chance, if you are planning to work with MySQL Server, then you need a separate IDE for this. We call that as MySQL Workbench. So depends on the server application, guys. We need to use the respective SQL variant, that is the language variant. Then we need to use the respective IDE. So using all these things, we are going to work. Yep. Any questions here? Yeah, for today, I'm not discussing any technical, guys. I mean, technical aspects. I'm just trying to understand the basics only.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for the confirmation. So what our team is going to do, guys, our team will share the instructions files with you. So one is called SQL Server Setup, and second one is called SQL Server Client Setup, which stands for SSMS. Please go through these two files and complete the installation process, guys. Before the installation process, let me talk about very important activity here. That is, we have system requirements. The system requirements are: make sure you have minimum 4 GB RAM, guys. Yeah, this is very important. Second, if you have 8 GB or 16 GB or 32 GB, that's quite good. But the minimum RAM requirement is 4 GB, guys. And next, better to have the latest processor here, especially whoever is planning to learn Power BI, make sure you have the latest processor, guys. Yeah, maybe like i3, latest processor, or i5 or i7. Go with the latest generation, guys. Next one. I'm not saying that you cannot use HDD laptops. Yes, you can use HDD laptop, but it will be very slow. In case if anybody is very keen on SQL and Power BI, it's better to have SSD, guys. I know all the latest laptops will have SSD only, but by any chance, if anyone is using old laptop, make sure you will have SSD, guys. Please don't use SSD. If you use SSD, it takes a lot of time for processing and you cannot work with that very fast. So these are the system requirements. Yeah, like I previously explained. So this is the course content, guys. If anybody is not having this course content, please connect with our team and get this course content. And you can cross check as we move on to this, as we move on with the sessions, guys. You can always cross check whether we are covering all the topics or are we missing any topics. So we will discuss everything here. Yeah, any other questions?
And also all good.
It's all good. Thank you. Then we'll be having session for 1.5 hours every day, guys. So you may consider as request or I may sound rude, but let me talk about very important thing here, guys. If you are attending session for 1.5 hours, make sure you spare another 1.5 hours for practice. Yeah. In case you are not able to dedicate this particular time, then it's a humble request from my side. Please don't attend the session because you never learn anything. You just feel like you attended the sessions, you completed the sessions, but you will never gain anything, guys. Please don't waste your time. At the same time, don't waste your money also. If you are able to give enough time for practice purpose, then only please attend the sessions, guys. Yeah, again, I'm saying, sorry if I'm sounding rude, but this is a harsh reality.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Sure. Yeah.
one last point, guys. We will have a lot of practice files. We'll be sharing with you during the sessions. I know we are not kids, but please try to complete them, guys. Yeah, so that's it. So from tomorrow, what we will do is we will get into the topics, guys. If anybody is planning to come for offline session, you are most welcome. Please come for offline session, guys, because I come from old school. I always prefer offline session. In case you're not able to do it, please attend the sessions online. But whatever the questions you have, again, I'm saying this, please feel free to ask. There is no serious question or silly question. Whatever the question, guys, please shoot the question. Let's get it cleared. Then we will move on with the topics. That's it. So I'll stop here for today, guys. Tomorrow we will start the session at sharp 9:30. And I request everyone to be available by sharp timing.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. If we don't have further questions, guys, let me stop the session here for today. Rest, we will continue tomorrow.
Sure. So, sir, just wanted to understand, like, this would be like how many days total course?
Ma'am, the sessions will be conducted for 20 hours.
Okay. So you covered SQL and Power BI both, right?
This is only for, I'm talking about only SQL.
Okay.
Power BI, we take 30 hours to complete. So if you
Okay.
put together, it will be like almost like 50 hours. So it will be almost like you would consider like 1.5 months.
Okay. Okay. So you will initially start with SQL and then move on with once the SQL classes are done, then you'll go with Power BI, right?
Yes, that's true.
Okay, got it. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. So thanks a lot for taking time, guys. I'm stopping the meeting here. We will connect.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thank you, sir.